Zimbabwe's land reform, myths and realities, voices from the field. Zimbabwe's land reform has had a bad press. Images of chaos, destruction and violence have dominated the coverage. While these have been part of the reality, there have also been successes, which have thus far gone largely unrecorded. The story is not simply one of collapse and catastrophe. It is much more complex. There have been many successes as well as failures. As Zimbabwe moves forward with a new agrarian structure, a more balanced appraisal is needed, requiring solid, on-the-ground research aimed at finding out what happened to whom, where, and with what consequences. This was the aim of work we carried out in Masvingo province over the past decade, and the results are published in the book Zimbabwe's Land Reform, Myths and Realities. The 8 videos in this series complement the book, providing some voices from the field to bring the findings to life. The question we posed in our research was simple. What happened to people's livelihoods once they got land through the fast-track land reform program starting in the year 2000? We asked this across 16 sites and 400 households on new resettlements, both A1 smallholder resettlement farms and the larger scale A2 commercial farms distributed through the land reform program across Masvingo province, from the relatively higher potential areas around Chatsworth to the dry south around Chikombedzi. What we found was often unexpected and surprising. It confounded and complicated the media stereotypes which were constantly being projected. The results tell a fascinating story. What did we find? We found that the land reform in Masvingo province wasn't the unmitigated disaster that is sometimes portrayed. Indeed, around half of all farmers in our sample of 400 households were, in our terms, accumulating from below, making surpluses from agriculture and investing it back. This was particularly in the smallholder schemes, but again, not without problems due to lack of support and scarcity of inputs. We found that the new farms were not dominated by so-called cronies. By far the majority, over 2/3 of new settlers were ordinary people, around 50% overall from nearby communal areas. These were asset and income poor people in need of land. There were others, of course, former farm workers, civil servants, business people and so on. And the addition of these has resulted in a wider mix of skills, experiences and connections to rural settings. And then there were indeed the so-called cronies, numerically small in number, but disproportionately influential and concentrated in the A2 sites. It is a complex picture, but none of that reflects much commentary in any way. Contrary to expectations, we found that there was much investment going on in the new resettlements, clearing land, building homes, digging home and garden wells, purchasing farm equipment, growing herds and flocks of livestock and so on. Most of this was private investment without support from outside. At community level too, there was considerable group effort focused on building schools, constructing dams and roads. For individual household level investment, we estimated that each household on average across our sample had invested the equivalent of $2,000. Extrapolated across the province, this represents $90 million. No mean sum, and one that challenges any assumption that nothing is happening. We found that economic and entrepreneurial activity was vibrant, operating under very difficult circumstances for sure, but nevertheless happening. The result is a shift in economic activity to new value chains located in new places involving new people. The old economy is certainly in decline, but a new one is emerging on the margins, sometimes illegal, often fragile and never measured, and so not reflected in statistics. The lessons are important, and we hope that the results are listened to by all those committed to a prosperous future for Zimbabwe.
ngeke sebengayeza yonke lento abayifuna ngeke basiqamule thina uthando lwami lukhulu wemama thina mama ngeke basiqamule thina mama wemama abantu abami bakuwe thina mama uthando lwami lukuwe lukuwe lonke mama angeke mbukhohle ubuhle bakho wena mama angeke isikhumbu sami siyobekwa kuwe wena mama angeke mama Zimbabwe.